Hello and a warm welcome to the Celtic Forever podcast. The day after a night to forget for Celtic in the Champions League. Just a horrible night all round for Celtic in every way possible. Got John here. Obviously, you're not great after last night, John, but how are you in general?
I'm okay. Obviously, the game last night wasn't much to talk about, was it? And in the same breath, there was a lot to talk about. Now, I'll be honest, straight through the off, I switched it off after Maeda got a red card because I knew it was coming.
Yeah, that's 3 red cards we've had in the Champions League this season, and we've only played 4 games. But we'll get into that later on, John. First of all, I want to thank David Kelly from Celtic News Now for adding the podcast to his website. So I really appreciate that, David. Thank you very much, buddy. It's very much appreciated. So you'll get us on the Celtic News Now podcast section as well. So once again, thanks for that, David.
Aye, thanks, David. Every little helps. We really appreciate you adding us there. That gives people a bigger kind of platform to find us on. So thanks very much for that, David. Very much appreciated, mate. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. And if you can just hit like and subscribe to help the channel as well, that would also be appreciated. Anybody that's listening or watching, just hit that like, subscribe. It takes a second, and we would appreciate that as well. So let's get into it, John. Let's get into this nightmare of a game that happened last night. And before we start as well, this is to these Rangers supporters that are setting off fireworks at 11:30 at night, celebrating Celtic losing in the Champions League. I've got one word to say to you: limassol. And another thing I'd like to say to you is we will never be the worst ever team in the Champions League. That title belongs to Rangers Football Club. So we'll move on to the game last night, John, right? I had to get that off my chest, but it's true.
Listen, the only jollies they get is Celtic getting beat by somebody. That's the only jollies they get. A club's about 11 years old. They won a COVID Cup. Well done to them for winning the COVID Cup with no fans in the stadiums and all that. Well done. That's some achievement, that. Playing friendlies every single game. Well done. What a team. Serial losers FC, that's all I can say. Anyway, on with this.
Yeah. So the game kicks off, John. Quite a lot getting off our chest today anyway. But the game starts and we're actually doing quite well. I thought, we were containing Atletico Madrid. We were passing the ball a bit lovely. No problems, no issues. We looked quite comfortable, I thought, until the red card. Well, obviously they scored first, John, didn't they? It was a poor clearing header from McGregor, I think it was, straight to Griezmann, and he bangs the ball into a deflected shot into the back of the net. But that makes it 1-0. But it's the red card I want to go on to. Maeda's red card.
Well, you can start before that. Even before that red card was handed out, I knew we were in for hell with that referee. You can call it corrupt officials or whatever. I don't know if that's the game. It's either corrupt or that guy really needs his eyes testing, and so do the VAR officials. But even before we got to the red card, there's a tackle on Greg Taylor right in the halfway line. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. That's right, yeah.
The player goes flying into McGregor, knocks him right out of the park. Nothing's given.
Taylor.
What did I say?
McGregor.
Greg Taylor. I'm getting a bit excited here. Greg Taylor. He goes flying into Greg Taylor, takes him right out of the park, and walks away without even a yellow or a word for the referee. Just walks away. Right? So that's number one. That was a yellow card, in my opinion. Right? That's a yellow card at the least for that tackle on Greg.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
He walks away from that. Walks away from it with nothing given, right? I know we sound angry here. We are quite angry because, look, the officiating was poor. But we'll get to that. And then Maeda is past the defender. He's dragged him back for 15 yards and it continued right into the box. Now, we seen Laga Bielka getting a red card for the same sort of thing, except it wasn't over a distance of 15 yards. It was only over 1 yard. Arm right over Maeda, right over the top, and pulling him back, dragging him back right into the box. And Maeda finally goes down. Nothing given.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something, as far as I'm concerned, and you can call me what you want, but there's something going on between UEFA and Celtic just now.
Obviously, I switched it off after the red card was awarded. Now, when it initially happened, I'm writing notes down at this point, right, for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing notes down. And I wrote down in my notes, this is exactly what I wrote. Where is it? Maeda, challenge. Player goes down, play acting. And I was angry at the yellow card decision for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it goes to VAR, which I'm even more shocked at. Even the commentators were shocked. It goes to VAR. And as Brendan Rodgers says in his interview, as soon as the ref goes over to that VAR screen, it's paused on the contact, making it look like a computer game or something like that. It's paused right on the contact. Instead of going for the start and actual time where it happened and how it happened, it's paused on the contact to make it look bad. Now, when you see that, that is a brush. Two players gone for the ball. Two players hit each other. Maeda's brushed his shin pad. Brushed it. No more. He goes down rolling about like he's been shot. Play acting. And I'm laughing at this point. I'm killing myself laughing. So look at that play acting here. He's not even touched him. And the referee has went there to VAR, seen it paused on the initial wee brush contact, and he's ran out. And as soon as I seen that, I thought, he's off. I can't believe it. I shut my eyes, put my head in my hands, and I seen him walking off, and I was like, you know what? Get it off. I'm not watching anymore, because that was enough for me. I've already seen far worse challenges over the park on Celtic players than nothing given. Far worse. 100 times worse than that challenge that Maeda done. It wasn't even a challenge, Zander.
Yeah, it's just a coming together. Yeah, it's just a coming together, John. I can understand your frustration because I felt the same, and I had also wrote in my notes that it was a soft yellow card, and as soon as it went to the VAR, you knew right away he was getting sent off. There was no doubt he was getting sent off for that. Whoever was said in the referee's ear to come and have a look at it, the decision was made then. He didn't need to go and have a look at it. All he had to do was give him the red card because the decision's already made. So Maeda, and the referee, John, the referee was shocking, right? That's fair enough. He had a terrible game, and he's had previous with Celtic as well. But we'll get into that as well. But it was the reaction to the Atletico bench and the Atletico players about trying to get Maeda sent off. Every single player surrounding that referee, and their manager and all his assistants and coaches, going to the referee and trying to get Maeda sent off. What a disgusting football team Atletico Madrid are, honestly.
Oh, they're vile. They're absolutely vile. And look, the thing is, Celtic compared to Atletico Madrid, small budget in comparison, right? Atletico Madrid team laced with World Cup winners, Champions League winners, world-class players, and they have to act like that against Celtic. You know what I mean? That's like Celtic acting like that against Beacon City.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. It was quite hard to watch last night. I've got to admit, and I'm going to be honest as well, I turned it off after maybe about half an hour. Enough was enough. And the players done well to try and keep it at 1-0 up to half time. But then they lost that goal just before half time, obviously, and that was the game well and truly finished. But we're not here to talk about the game, John. We know what happened in the game. There's no way Celtic were going to get anything out of that game once Daizen Maeda got unfairly sent off. So this referee, John, he's obviously had previous with Celtic in the past, hasn't he? He was reported by Celtic to UEFA for booking 9 Celtic players, 9 yellow cards, and I think there was a red as well. In a previous game, so Celtic reported him to UEFA, and then we get him again last night, and look what happens last night.
Aye. I wasn't even... Listen, I don't really take much notice of referees' names and all that stuff. But I did. My dad sent me a text the other day talking about that. So I was aware of that. only through my dad. So thanks for that, Dad, if you're listening, for telling us about that, because I wasn't even aware of that. But look, we talk about refs a lot on this, and we can be a wee bit harsh on the Scottish officials, right? Guys like maybe Andrew Dallas or whatever, or John Beaton. But see, in comparison to that clown last night, these Scottish officials are top-class referees next to that.
I don't know, but I know you're angry, John. I know that, but the Scottish referees are quite poor, right? But I know exactly what you're saying. That was a vendetta last night, John. That wasn't a refereeing performance. That was a vendetta against Celtic Football Club. It is as simple as that. And I don't care if people call me paranoid. I could not care less, John, because I know what I saw with my own eyes. You know, I know what you're saying about the Scottish referees. You know, some of them are good, some of them are bad. You know, but nothing was as bad as what this referee was trying to do to Celtic last night. As you said, free kicks against Taylor, nothing given. Yellow cards against Taylor, nothing given. Free kicks against Maeda, fouls outside the box, nothing given. And then the very first tackle a Celtic player makes, it's an automatic red card. You know, and that's Maeda suspended for the next two games, the last two games in the Champions League as well. So we're now missing Maeda. And then later, I know I don't want to skip too far ahead, but later on in the game, he books Palmer for absolutely nothing as well. And he misses the next game as well. So the bottom line is, for me, the referee had a nightmare, but we're getting nothing no matter what happened last night. We came out of the trap playing quite well, and the referee took anything we were going to do away from us last night. An absolute disgrace of a performance. And if I might add, an absolute disgrace of a performance by every single Atletico Madrid player who surrounded that referee, and their management team as well on the bench.
By the way, anybody that thinks you're paranoid, you touched on that a few seconds ago there. People might think I'm paranoid. If somebody thinks you're paranoid, watch the game. Watch the game with a kind of a neutral point of view. Just kid on it's no Celtic. They're wearing black strips, so you can kid on it's no Celtic. Watch that game and see if the decisions were fair. See if the tackle on Taylor on the halfway line wasn't at least a yellow card. And the foul, Maeda getting dragged back for 15 yards, arms all air him, pulling him back, dragging him back right into the box. Was that no a foul outside the box? Or was it even a penalty? Because it continues right into the box. And look at the foul, especially, that Maeda's supposed to be sent off for. That's the softest red card I've ever seen in my life, Sander. And I've been watching the game a long time, as you know. That's the most disgusting I've ever seen in my life. I've seen Celtic getting beaten in the Champions League by 6 goals before, or whatever. And I've never been disgusted like that before.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me on to the actual, you're talking about the red card, Maeda. So there's a phrase going about, John, with Kyogo, obviously, with the exact same tackle against him, exact same angle, exact same everything. This guy doesn't even get spoken to. He doesn't get a yellow card. He gets nothing. Play on. It's the exact same tackle, John. It's the exact same freeze.
Aye, I've seen that straight leg right into the... It's very similar to the one on... what's his name? Yang at the weekend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least the freeze that I've seen, it was the very same now. We never watched the whole game. I'm sure a lot of Celtic fans just switched it off at that point because you can see what's happening. I knew it was coming. I knew exactly what was coming. And I've seen the freeze. And if that's sent to go by and nothing was given for that, that tells you all.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the referee just didn't want to know it. VAR didn't want to know it either. It's there. It's captured in camera. Go and have a look at it. Give the same decision you gave against Maeda. And at that point, the game is still at 1-0. Still 1-0 to Atletico. So if they're sitting down to 10 men, it gives us a fighting chance. Then if he doesn't want to know it, doesn't want to have a look at it through VAR, play on. No free kick, no yellow card, no red card. Absolutely nothing given. So barring a miracle, John, I think we're out of Europe, eh?
I think so, aye. Look, the first things first, I don't know if they rescind cards in the Champions League, but that Maeda thing has to be looked at. That isn't even a yellow card, Xander.
Mm-hmm.
That was disgusting what happened to Maeda last night. It's not even a yellow card. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they can rescind red cards in the Champions League or no, John. I'm not sure, but it should be looked at. You're right. It should be going to some sort of panel to try and get that overturned. But it doesn't matter. We got a heavy defeat because of it. That was simply because of that red card. We got a heavy defeat. And in your preview match podcast, John, you were bang on. You said exactly what was going to happen last night. You predicted it in the preview match, in the preview podcast. Sorry, that this was going to happen, and it did happen. So well done to you for that. But it doesn't make it any easier. As I says, I think we're out of Europe now. I think Lazio beat Feyenoord last night, which puts them 5 points ahead. Celtic now, 6 points ahead, and Feyenoord are 5 points ahead. So barring a miracle, we need to win both games, and we would need to hope that Feyenoord gets beat both next two games. So I can't see that happening. I think we're out of Europe, to be honest with you. But you never know. You never know.
Well, look, I don't really care, to be honest with you. So I hate the Champions League, you know that for a fact. I can't stand the Champions League. I'll say it in every podcast that we do before Champions League games. I can't stand it. And I think the officials in the Champions League are worse than the ones that we see in Scotland. That's my opinion. I've never seen anything in the Champions League that I thought, he's a good referee, him. Very, very poor officials. Very poor. And that guy last night, that was just an animal.
Mm. Yeah, he definitely had that in for us. There's no doubt about it. That's the scoreline aside, it was a heavy defeat. The scoreline aside, even at 1-0, you just knew right away Celtic were getting nothing last night, nothing, and it proved to be the case.
Exactly. What can we do? But it's nothing. We can't turn the clock back and start again. All we can do is look at the facts that were presented to us last night. We all seen it. When that tackle in and Taylor saying, "Oh, that's a badging. That's at least a yellow card there." Nothing. Wasn't even spoken to. And look, I'll not say it again. Maeda getting dragged back 15 yards worth. He was dragged back right into the box. His arms were all air Maeda, air the tapium, pulling his waist, pulling his tap, pulling his shoulders. Look, I've already said it. Lager Bielka gets sent off for far less than that against Feyenoord. Far less. So, is it one rule for them, one for us? Is that a Celtic thing? I don't know. I really, really don't know. But I was just disgusted with last night. Absolutely disgusted. Officials, brutal.
As were every Celtic supporter that watched that last night, John. It was quite bad. It's quite hard to watch. It was a hard watch, really tough. I have to watch it because of the podcast and do these reports on the game, obviously. And you're the same, but it's tough to watch. So let's move on to the board, John. It's the lack of funds to Brendan Rodgers. We're going to that yet again. What's happening with the money? Why is Brendan not getting the money to sign the players that he wants to compete in the Champions League?
Well, this is the other side of the coin, and it's Celtic's players. Again, I'll say my dad sent me a text today saying it's all project players, and it is all project players we have got, really. You can't expect to compete in the Champions League with project players. You did get a performance. I thought Celtic acquitted themselves quite well last night up until the sending off. They were playing well. I thought they were playing the better. They were playing the better football.
Yeah, they looked confident, John. They looked quite confident.
Look, the ref put a stop to it. If he's seen that and put a stop to it, that's basically what happened. But when it comes to Celtic and spending money, it's the same old story for years. We haven't really got big money to spend on players, but we do need some experienced, maybe a couple of experienced, well-known names in there. It's not going to happen. I don't think. The Celtic boys we've not got the money. We've not got the money to pay wages, all that stuff. That's why we are playing at the level we play at. I'll tell you what I did listen to earlier, and I turned it off again after 5 minutes. I'd heard enough of the guy. Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport. I don't know who this clown is, right? I know he's in it. He played for a few teams in England and all that, and he's a host on TalkSport. I don't know if you know the guy I'm talking about.
I've heard him, John.
His name's Jamie O'Hara, TalkSport. What a clown this guy is, by the way. His words, Sander.
What was he saying?
Is there any point in them? He was saying, is there any point in them being there? Talking about Celtic in the Champions League, right?
Mhm.
And he says, look at Rangers. They go to the final. When did Rangers get to the final of the Champions League? When did that ever happen? When's that ever happened?
No.
Right, I'm sure they go to the final. They go to the final with the Europa League, which is a different thing altogether. And they were playing against teams that were depleted. Either their manager had left, their best players were injured, or there was empty stadiums. Half-empty stadiums, because COVID was just coming to an end at that time. And that's why they go to the final. The teams they played were terrible. First time when they did all right in that club, but honestly, what's this? Anyways, this is what he says. Is there any point in them being there? Talking about Celtic in the Champions League. Look at Rangers, got to the final. I burst out laughing when I heard that. No, and then what I thought about after that was, why don't you say, look at Rangers in the Champions League last season? Ajax 4-0, Napoli 3-0, Liverpool 2-0, Liverpool again 7-1, Napoli 3-0, Ajax 3-1, 0 points out the group. Why don't you look at that, O'Hara? If you want to go praising them. Look at that performance in the Champions League. 6 games, 6 thumpings. The worst team in Champions League history. Why don't you look at that before you go going on about Celtic? Is there any point in them being there? Sorry, Xander, that's my rant.
No, these people just are great. No, you're allowed a rant, John. That's allowed. That's perfectly okay, especially after what happened to Celtic last night. And after the sending off, John, the game was finished. The players' heads went down. They done well to get to half time. It should have been 1-0, but they lost that last minute goal in the 3rd minute of injury time, made it 2-0. So that was the game finished. So they done well up to that point. And then after that, the heads just went down. You know, goal after goal, finished 6-0, obviously. You know, all I can say is I hope it doesn't affect the confidence, John.
I don't think it will. I think that'll really have angered the Celtic players. If it's angered the players as much as it's angered every Celtic fan, you'll see Celtic will get a lift for that. Because if any Celtic players ever listen to this, which I doubt very much, we're feeling it as bad as the players, you know. It was just disgusting. I'm absolutely shocked at that referee last night. Absolutely shocked. And I'm equally shocked at that clown Jamie O'Hara's comments today.
Yeah. Well, these people down south, John, they've not got a clue what happens up here about any of the football that gets played up here, so I wouldn't pay too much attention to idiots like him. Just a wee quick one. Kyogo, again, 3 games in a row, John. I said a couple of podcasts ago he needs a rest. What do you think now, John? You think he's getting a bit tired now and looks a bit tired? Needs a wee rest, Kyogo?
I think he still looks as if he's full of running in every game, but it wouldn't do him any harm to have a wee rest.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the replacement for Kyogo is obviously O. So,
yeah,
I don't know, he's looked no bad, I suppose, the last couple of games. He's been getting involved a lot, so no, maybe, I don't know. Well, we play Aberdeen on Sunday this week, eh?
Sunday, I think that's a 2:30 kick-off. Is it 2:30? I think it is. Yeah, that's a tough one for us, John, to come back for Spain, obviously. Playing Aberdeen at the weekend. We'll do a preview podcast at the weekend, obviously, but we'll have a wee quick chat on that. That's going to be tough, John, coming back for Spain after a 6-0 defeat like that and then having to play Aberdeen. But it's the best way to bounce back at the same time.
Well, if you ask me, there's no better way to bounce back than playing at home with 60,000 fans there, getting behind the team. Any fans that's attending the game, just remember what Celtic were up against last night. World-class players and corrupt officials. I don't care what anybody says. That isn't paranoia. I've seen that with my own eyes. I'm sure every Celtic fan's seen that with their own eyes. It was corrupt officials. It was Celtic against the officials and a team with world-class players in it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, John, well said. Yeah. All right. Well, just a wee quick before we move on. Actually, Celtic fans attacked in a pub last night, allegedly by Atletico Madrid fans. Just sums the whole thing up, John, didn't it?
They're just a disgusting team. I'm not going to single individuals in the team and all that or whatever. I can't stand their manager. I hate his face. I've never liked his face. Just can't stand the guy, man. Total clown yet again. Another clown. We can all listen. This is why I hate the Champions League, because we're up against it every time we play in the Champions League. The refereeing is poor. The officials have always been poor in the Champions League, I thought. So I don't know if the standard of team's high, why can the standard of refereeing not be high as well? Because it's just, I hate it. Can't stand it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're saying, John. And hopefully all the Celtic fans that got attacked last night go home safely today. Obviously, you don't want to hear that's happening to Celtic fans when they're trying to support their team. So hopefully everybody go home safe and sound. We'll wrap up there, John. Just want to have a wee quick mention on the promotion. Name the two Celtic legends. Just listen to their voices. Name who they are. If you get one or even two right, you'll be entered into the draw for the Celtic Legends framed print. Have a wee listen to these two clips.
Well, I didn't get to come here that often. As a boy, I always admired Pelé. For me, I don't think there'll be a footballer that'll get anywhere near him.
It was absolutely a great time for me as well, personally, and obviously football-wise was just great. And
if you can guess who these two players are, you'll be entered into the draw for the Celtic Frame Legends print. Beautiful prizes, so that we'll give two away already. Just leave a comment who you think they are. If you get even one right, you'll be entered into the draw. And so far, we've only had 16 entries, so you've got a great chance of winning this. So good luck, everybody, with your entries in the competition. Anything else to add, John?
No, just this is the angriest we've ever been, isn't it, in a podcast? But listen, there's good reason to be angry at that. Might sound a bit harsh. Some people might be thinking that's a bit harsh, but no, I speak my mind, as you know, Xander, and I'm going to continue to speak my mind.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I am. Yeah. You know, if you want me to kind of be a wee happy clapper and say, oh, I thought Atletico Madrid were a brilliant team and all that, you're not going to get that off of me. No, with that team anyway. They're disgusting.
Yeah. So, like and subscribe, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you for everybody that's subscribed as well. We do appreciate every subscriber as well. So thank you very much, each and every one of you. We'll leave it there for the day, John. We'll be back on Friday for a preview podcast, and I'll see you next time, buddy.
Okay, Xander. Speak to you soon, mate. Hail.